So, for those of you that have watched a number of the videos, you know that I spend time talking to candidates when they're being considered for the job. You may not be aware that I also work with our clients once people are on board. And in fact, I have many, many ongoing conversations with people that are employees, more often than not, in their first year with the company during the settling in period. And so just recently, I had a very nice conversation with a person who was hired about 8 months ago, and I asked him, "How's it going?" And he said, "You know, it's been good. I really like the company, I really like the product, but I have to tell you, it's been a lot harder than I expected it to be." And you know what? It almost always is a lot harder than people expect it to be. This is especially true with salespeople. More often than not, extroversion is a high trait. Think about how many salespeople you may have hired that had low extroversion. Pretty unusual. Might not be their highest trait, but it's a high trait. And with high extroversion comes optimism. So what happens is your candidate, or now your new hire, is thinking, "Man, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to show these guys I'm going to be the number one blah, blah, blah in the shortest period of time ever," right? And then it doesn't happen that way. And so now when you're having an honest and frank conversation and the person is saying to you, "You know what? This wasn't as easy as I thought it would be," think about where you need to go with that as a manager, because that individual is looking in the mirror and saying, "Is it me?" And again, think about the high extrovert. When a high extrovert looks in the mirror and asks the question, "Is it me?" you can be sure the answer is, yes, it is. So how do you deal with that as a manager? How do you maximize the motivation but make sure that the person isn't beating themselves up? Well, here are a couple of tips. Number one, make sure that if there are things you need to say about their performance, that they understand it's about the performance, it's not about them. Make sure that you're able to keep things based on the tactical level versus, "I think you're a bad dude." Because people don't want to hear that, they don't need to hear that, and it doesn't drive motivation and productivity. And number two, focus on what has been done that's moving forward, that's positive. They may be, in fact, ahead of the curve. They just don't know it because their optimism led them to believe that things were going to happen a lot faster and a lot easier than they were. So focus on the top of the funnel, focus on the good things that are happening, and help the person understand to stay the course, to stay positive, and stay focused. You'll be able to help your new or relatively new hire get over that critical hurdle while they feel like they're doing all the right things, but they're not yet seeing the results. Thanks for listening.